Hey, how's it going everyone? It's Nick here from TraderLion. In this video, we're going to cover the IPO U-Turn. It's a very simple setup to understand, but it's one that you definitely want to understand because some of our best trades are from this pattern. This is a very explosive setup. So let's dive into a few examples. So first, let's start with HUYA. Now, HUYA, you see since it IPO'd, it made a high and then it sold off. So what you're looking for to initiate that position is you want to take out that high. So if I add a horizontal line here at 24.33, as soon as you break through that 24.33, you initiate that position, and now you just rode this from 24.33 all the way up until it stopped out over here around 40. So a very, very explosive move, and that's all you're looking for with the IPO U-turn. Now this one happened a little quickly. Normally with the IPO U-turns, you want them to settle for a little bit instead of selling off and coming right back and triggering that buy in just a week or so. Ideally, you have a little bit more time, but it doesn't invalidate it when it happens this quickly. So this is what you're looking for to get through that high. Now, if we use Dropbox, for example, this is another one that we traded. Let me draw a horizontal line. So we came up as soon as it IPO'd. It was a bit messy, came up, made a high, came back down. Now, it did make another high and it bounced right through that. However, look at the volume. The volume is very low compared to these down days. So that is not something that you'd want to initiate. Volume is very important. So we'll be using this 34.41. You see it's been moving sideways. All of a sudden, volume starts to come in. And what does it do? It breaks through that 34.41 area on very, very big volume. So this was a buy for that IPO U-turn. And you see it picked up from 34.41 all the way to 43. Now this sold off quickly and gave up all of those gains. So if you're in Dropbox and you opened it at 34.41, it takes off and now it starts to sell off. What do you do with your position? Well, your entry is 34.40 right here, this horizontal line. So if it comes back in, you can see the volume was lighter. If it came back in and held that pivot point and bounced back off, then you could add to your position. That is a perfect buy opportunity again. But you see here that we broke that pivot level and so it continued down further. So it's very important to watch that prior breakout level. If it comes back and retests that breakout and fails, then you want to get out of that position because this is what happens. If it comes back and holds, then you want to look for volume to come in, because if you went up on big volume here, you come down on lighter volume and it stops at this level and then bounces back on good volume, that is not something that you want to miss. You want to make sure that you're adding to your position. All right, IQ. Can anyone guess where we're going to draw the line? We're going to draw it right here. So it IPO'd, sold off the first day, and then it started to get buyers. It hit a high, and then it came back down. So what are you looking for? You're looking for a big volume to take it back up through that pivot. Now it did come back in, but it held above that pivot area. So this was a buy, and although it did not take off right away, you could see that if you were in this, you would not have been stopped out, and you would have held it for a trade of from 20 all the way until it hit your stops about right here at around $39. So very, very explosive. What are you looking for? You're looking for the prior high. You're looking for it to break through on good volume, and that's what it does. And you can even notice here, when it did sell off after it did officially break out, the volume was much lighter, and then as soon as buyers came back in, see where the buyers stepped in? Right here on the retest of that pivot, more buyers came in, and then it moved. So you really want to pay attention to the volume when it sells back off, and if it does hold that pivot or if it breaks through it. SSTI was an older IPO U-turn that we played. This was a very good example as well. Now if you look here, after the IPO day, it somewhat made a high, and so we're going to draw a horizontal line there. And you see the day that it broke through it was on very big volume. So it broke through the 1541 pivot, made a high of about 20, came back in, retested it, bounced off again, failed, and it sold off. So now you could see that it got stopped twice here. That's a very significant level in itself, so we're going to draw a horizontal line. So the original IPO U-turn breakout failed. Now we're eyeing this 20 level because this is where it hit and it failed twice. So you could be using the moving average. You could hop in through the 50-day, which happens to be the break of the 50-day, as well as this IPO U-turn, or you could wait for confirmation through this 1983. Personally, I'd rather jump back in here because we have big volume. You're going right through the 50-day moving average and right through the original IPO U-turn pivot, and then I would add through here. You see through these highs, once it breaks through that resistance, volume starts to come in. So you could add through here. And so now you built a position through 1541, 1983. So these are all very good examples of the IPO U-turn. Some of you might be wondering where you put your stops, so let's put HUYA back on the screen. If we initiated here at 24.33, I would personally put it below the prior day's low and let that 10-day moving average catch up, and then we'll use that 10-day moving average as a guide to add to the position or get stopped out. So as long as it doesn't break the 10-day, there's no reason to get out. We made a high of 31, pulled back into 26. However, held that 10-day, so there's no reason to sell until we broke that 10-day moving average right here, and it's time to get out. So that's it for the IPO U-turn. A lot of times people see IPOs, they make some highs and then they sell off and they just completely throw them off their radar because they sold off and they don't look appealing anymore. But you want to pay attention to that prior high, and you want to pay attention to it starting to shape up and curl up a bit. And as soon as you break that prior high and volume comes in and it's there, you go ahead and initiate that position because the IPO U-turn is officially breaking out. So I hope that makes sense to everyone. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out as always. If not, have a great day, and I will talk to everybody very soon.